All right, let's talk about the Certified Professional Coder exam. If you're looking to get into medical coding, you know this is the big one. It's the gatekeeper. And yeah, it can feel a little intimidating, but trust me, with the right strategy, it's a challenge you can absolutely beat. So let's get into it and crack this code.
First things first, let's size up what you're facing. We're talking 100 multiple choice questions, and they cover a huge range of coding scenarios. It's a real test of what you know, for sure.
And you have to answer all 100 of those questions in just 4 hours. Now, when you do the math, that's a little over 2 minutes per question, which means every single second counts. There is zero time to waste. So you can see why, with that kind of pressure, even really well-prepared students can stumble. So the big question is, what are the most common traps that actually cause people to fail? Well, that's exactly what we're about to break down.
Here's our game plan. We're going to start with the mindset and memory traps that trip people up. Then, we'll dive into how to really master your coding manuals, how to beat the clock, and how to break down those exam questions. And finally, we'll pull it all together into your roadmap for success.
Okay, let's start with the mental game. Because success on the CPC exam is about so much more than just knowing a bunch of codes. It's really about your approach and how you handle the pressure. You know, the single biggest mistake people make is trying to memorize the code books. I mean, with thousands upon thousands of codes and constant updates, it's not just hard, it's literally impossible. Plus, it's not even going to help you when you get one of those tricky real-world scenario questions.
So you have to shift your focus. Instead of trying to memorize what a code is, you need to understand how and why it's used. The best way to do that is to work through tons of case studies to see the logic in action. And you have to make sure your anatomy and medical terminology are rack solid. I mean, that's the language that the codes are written in, right?
The second huge mental trap is just panic. You know the feeling, the clock's ticking, you hit a question that stumps you, and it's so easy to get flustered and start second-guessing everything. Exam stress is a major performance killer.
But here's the good news, you can control it. Before you even get to the exam, practice some simple breathing exercises. And when you're in there, you have to trust the work you put in. If you get stuck on a question, don't spiral. Just mark it, move on, and come back to it later. Go for the easy wins first to build your confidence. You've got this.
Okay, next up, your code books. Now, this is an open book test, which sounds great, but it can be a trap if you don't know how to use your tools. You got to think of your manuals less like a dictionary and more like a map. You need to know how to navigate them fast. And a huge mistake I see all the time is people focus only on finding the codes and they totally ignore the official guidelines right there at the beginning of the manuals. These are not suggestions, okay? They are the fundamental rules of the road. Ignoring them is like trying to drive without knowing what a stop sign is.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. Look at this. This is right from the official guidelines. It says adherence is required under HIPAA. This isn't just about passing a test. We are talking about a legal and professional standard. This is serious stuff.
And this slide is a perfect example of why those guidelines are so critical. The difference between excludes 1 and excludes 2 trips up so many people. Excludes 1 means not coded here. It's a hard stop. The two conditions can't happen together, so you can't use both codes. But excludes 2, that just means not included here. The patient could have both conditions, so you might actually need to use both codes. Getting this one little rule right is a total game changer on the exam. So, to make these manuals really work for you, you've got to prep them. Tab your books. Highlight the key sections you always forget. Scribble notes in the margins. Your goal is to make finding information almost automatic, so you're not wasting precious minutes just flipping through pages.
Okay, so you know how to prep your manuals. Now let's talk about using them when every single minute counts. This brings us to our next big challenge, the race against the clock. Honestly, time management can make or break you on this exam.
So here's a golden strategy for you, the 1-minute rule. The idea is simple. On your first pass through the exam, give yourself a strict time limit, about a minute per question. If you can't nail it in that time, mark it and move on. This makes sure you answer all the easy questions first, and you can bank that extra time for the tougher ones at the end. So how do you get good at that? You practice. I mean, this chart really says it all. If you only study the theory, you are putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. But look at that jump in performance when you start doing regular, timed mock exams. You have to simulate the real thing to build up the speed and the stamina you're going to need. All right, next up, let's talk about the questions themselves. Each one is like a little puzzle, a mini case study. You have to approach them like a detective.
carefully searching for clues and filtering out all the noise.
A super common mistake is just rushing and completely misreading the scenario. You skim it, you jump to a conclusion, and you pick a code that looks right, but it's totally wrong because you missed one key detail. For instance, maybe the question is about a laceration repair of the forearm. You find the right section, but you breeze past the most important part. The repair was exactly 2.5 centimeters. If you miss that one tiny detail, you'll get the question wrong every single time.
So here's your 3-step method to avoid that exact trap. First, slow down. Read the entire question carefully. Second, pull out your highlighter or pencil and actively identify the key info. You'd circle laceration repair, forearm, and especially 2.5 centimeters. And finally, once you've locked in those facts, you use the process of elimination on the answer choices. It's a structured approach that makes those careless mistakes pretty much impossible.
Okay, so we've covered the mindset, the manuals, the clock, and the questions. Now let's bring it all home and put it together into your clear path for passing this exam and earning that certification.
And here it is, your final checklist. Make those timed practice tests a weekly habit. Turn your codebooks into your personalized tools. Focus on understanding the why, not just memorizing codes. Read every single word of every question. Use that 1-minute rule to stay on pace. And finally, just stay calm and trust all the hard work you've put in.
Look, passing the CPC exam is a huge milestone. It opens up so many doors to a really rewarding career. It takes strategy, it takes practice, and it takes confidence. But now you have the blueprint. So the only question left is, are you ready to go earn your certification?